Hey, we're live. Okay, sorry. It's kind of a mess. Sorry, everybody. Kind of forgot. This is kind of a nightmare going on at my house, and lost track of time, and it was kind of a disaster. So there's stuff everywhere. My kids are outside, and then G Baby was late, and then Crayons is having to be
Don't
on his
blame it on
phone.
us.
Listen, I do what I want. I'm running this shite show with nobody watching right now. That's depressing. Okay, so so this is episode 8. We have a
Yeah.
really special guest. And matter of fact, this special guest has been in my life since 2004. I say in my life from 2004, but really it was only for 3 months. And I hated him. He's laughing. I can see him down on the screen because he's muted. Let's just, there's 100 of us that didn't like him. But it's okay. He survived. Oh, Kyle Fisher says, "What's up, fellas?" Kyle, thanks, buddy. You are our favorite. Tom, also super cool dude. As a matter of fact, Tom, I'm going to show you something. So everyone watching out there, we get veterans and first responders and active military members behind the wheel of the race cars that we have. Currently have 2 vehicles in our repertoire. We have a 1996 Crown Victoria that is our road racing car. It's a 5-speed manual swap that Crayons has at his fantastic shop in Texas. And then we have a 85 Monte Carlo circle car track that is currently in North Carolina. Needs a little bit of help and some love. We will be showing that to you later on in the show. Our resident Osprey pilot is currently flapping his wings somewhere. So hopefully he'll get on soon and we can see that. But for Tom, thanks to people like Tom and some other people who really have backed what we're doing, we're able to do a lot more than we thought. And it kind of, if you go back and you look at kind of how we got to start, Matt says, "Hello, fellas." Well, hello, Matt. We started this, and I say I used to have a 1978 F-150 drag truck, and I think Crayons, you and I have just talked about that a couple of times. But unfortunately, no one wanted some broke-ass Marine with this shitty-ass truck trying to go fast in the quarter. Like, no one gave a damn. Everyone was like, "Oh, this guy's just another, street outlaws farm truck kind of a clown." And no one wanted anything to do with me. And I don't blame them. I went on a deployment. I actually trashed the whole thing before I left. Took the whole thing apart, sold all of it. As a matter of fact, I took the body to a scrapyard to get rid of it. And the guy ran forks through the side of it while it was still on my trailer. That was super depressing. Yes. Bummer. So that was terrible. So I got back on the deployment. I'm like, man, I need something to do, And I found out about lemons, and I bought this really crummy Crown Victoria, and got a couple of my good Marine Corps buddies, friends of mine up in the Camp Lejeune area, and we went racing in April of 2018, and it was actually a good time. We really loved it, and it just kind of morphed. We had several events since then, from then till about March. And we raced here in New Orleans, and G Baby, that's when you really came out and started to really be a part of this organization, which is why, for those of you who are USMC Racing Facebook Live aficionados, will notice his icon has changed. Tonight he's not with Triumph Productions. But we'll talk about Triumph Productions later in the show, of course, because he's doing something fantastic this weekend. But that's when me and him first met up. And Crayons, we first met up in February. But what my point is we had an individual come across our team in March. Prior Marine, said he was recon, and you could tell when he showed up on Friday that he was like,
it was in the ball.
Yeah, like, what am I doing here? Kind of a deal. Like, was standoffish, wasn't really talking to nobody. But I mean, you guys can attest, by the end of the weekend, you couldn't get it. You literally could not get this guy to stop talking. Literally. It was, I am like leaving. Yeah, I'll see you later. Bye. You could not get him to stop. It was unbelievable. And so, a couple of us offline said, maybe this can do some good. So we did the April race, our 24-hour event, where we had Alex, our resident Submariner, and a couple other people that came in and was accruing and being on the team. And we realized, and Zach, our resident Air Force guy, lame, we, we we realized like this can be super cool. Like we actually can do some good with this. Well, if you any of you guys have watched episode 6 and saw our interview with Hidden Wounds, you'll see that we actually did some good there. Like this is actually doing something really good, and they are helping us formulate a program that provides functional therapy for people that are suffering from PTSD, TBI. We have, and our second car coming from a Chair Force. Yes, Matt, you're exactly right. Our second car, who's coming from a mystery sheriff's department, which we're not allowed to reveal yet, is going to get hand controls installed. I cannot tell you how cool that is, people. I cannot even tell you how awesome that is. And as a matter of fact, I had some super awesome conversations with a guy who runs Resilience Racing. Don't want to talk about it too much yet, but I can tell you right now, off-the-shelf hand controls for what we are doing, what Ranger Road is doing, what Racing for Heroes is doing, it's going to become a reality in the next couple of years after the conversations I had today with the team owner of Resilience Racing. So I'm super excited, but that's for a later time.
Brian, the really cool part is that, with us being able to add those hand controls, it opens up a whole lot of doors for a whole lot of different people to be able to work, for us to work with, you know what I mean? So, everything that we're trying to do, man, we're trying to do it so that we can go ahead and get better at helping other people. So that's why I love the organization that we started with USMC Racing, and that's why we're going to keep going as long as we can.
Yeah, and it's fantastic. And you've got people like Brian and people like G Baby. Well, oh shit, sorry, using monikers and then I'm not using names. So G Baby and Crayons, whoopsies. Who
and he's Crayons because let me explain the Crayons thing for those people who don't know anything about the Marine Corps. So as most of you know, the Marine Corps has a reputation of having some of the smartest, dumbest people in the world. So Crayons is that kid that, what's it called? Crayons is that kid. Yeah, sorry about that. Crayons is that kid in kindergarten that, he sniffed glue or he ate crayons. And those are the future Marines of the world. And Brian, I love you, man, but you fixed that 100.
So Matt had a very good question. Has he eaten any? Okay, Matt, what you don't know is the plan is we will be eating some in September. That's the plan. Also, we'll be trying to get like these like pucker butt chocolates that have like ghost peppers in them as like a Facebook challenge. Not entirely sure we're going to do that because that looks super painful. I think Crayon sounds a little more safe. We'll see. Yeah. Who knows? Britton Shipman says, "Rah." That's way motivated. Let's
tone it down a little, but
bring it down.
All right. So, Brian, I don't know how much time we have for this segment and all that kind of stuff.
12 more minutes, and then we got to bring in our awesome, fantastic guest, who's probably laughing his ass off if he's still sitting at his computer. Although I told him just to roll out until about quarter after. Okay, so back on topic. So basically, the point of our organization is to get veterans, active military, first responders, or veterans of either behind the wheel of the race car. It gives them a functional therapy, gets them out of their dungeon, away from their house, away from their wife, their kids, their problems, their job, or shit, bring the wife and kids. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. And that happens all the time. I mean, my wife and kids come. Nate, the guy on our board, his wife and kids come. It's great. We have super fun. But it's also the get it factor of people who get out of the military because you go from, let's face it, a brainwashed environment of I have to wake up at 5 a.m. to I don't have to get up at 5 a.m. anymore. I don't have to shave. I don't have to be told when to eat. And it's like it's hard for people to adjust to that. So we provide that as well. So moving forward, there are some changes coming to USMC Racing, and some of you are watching, the 14 that are. some cool things. First off is some of our number changes. Some of you may have seen the post the other day that we put up, but as you can see, this way, that way.
Yep.
Hey, there we go. As you can see, the number on our primary car is going to be changing to 220. So as many of you probably know, 22 is synonymous with 22 veterans a day committing suicide. However, what we know now is that's not necessarily an accurate statement. The statistics are a little bit lower. I think, G-Baby, I think there's like 14, I think. However, it's still
16,
more.
I think 16 was the latest number. 16 or 18 was the latest number for 2018.
Yeah, it's still more. Okay, hold on. I got to pause. Demetrius, bro, I'm going to put your comment up here. This guy. I never ate crayons in the Corps, but we did go hogging. LOL. Oh, man. You're famous now. Okay. So, sorry to detract from a serious topic. Damn it, Demetrius, keep your mouth quiet. So the point is that number means a lot to us. You have 22 to 0. So in between, wrong number. In between the 2 and the 0, this way, we're going to put a little TO here or a little dash with someone's wife who has great handwriting because there's no way in hell I'm doing that. To signify 22 to 0, 22 veterans a day to 0. That's the idea. And so we're super stoked that this number is going to be with us at every racetrack, at every fundraiser, at every beer garden event we do. That number is going to be on that car. And that leads me into the second car that we're getting.
Real quick, I got a comment from Autumn that says, that number is identified as veterans, not including John Doe numbers. That's very true.
We don't know how many. Doe?
Huh? John Doe, how many of those John Does that could have been veterans?
Oh, okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of times they don't have identification, so that's an amazing point.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's a very good point. As a matter of fact, I think I read something the other day that there's actually a lot of World War II veterans that are still taking their lives.
Yeah.
These people are in their 80s.
Yeah.
And that's amazing to me.
It's because they see what's happening to the country. Oops.
No political. We can't do what we did last week. People were like, bro, I didn't log in to hear about Iran, you dummies. So sorry if you're watching this week and you heard about Iran last week. Okay, so our second car. Super exciting. Coming from a mystery sheriff's office near you, possibly. You probably have seen them on TV. And confirmed today that one of their deputies is going to be driving in our car in September, which is super cool. And that number of that car will be 412. And so that is synonymous with the number of first responders whose lives were taken on 9/11. Now, a lot of people have said to me on the Facebook page and in other forums, text message, and they say, it's 343. Like, where are you getting 412? Well, 343 is just the firefighters. I'm pulling some up here. I got it on my phone here. 343 is just those who were killed, who were firefighters. 412 encompasses everybody, and I will give you all the readout. Okay, so 412 were the emergency workers who lost their lives in New York City on 9/11. 343 were firefighters. 37 were police officers who were from either the Port Authority of New Jersey or the New Jersey Police Department. I'm sorry, Port Authority of New York and the New Jersey Police Department. 23 police officers of the New York City Police Department. 8 emergency medical technicians and 1 patrolman. Those medical technicians, were from a private emergency medical service, and 1 patrolman from the New York Fire Patrol. So it's important to realize, this car means a lot to us. And it's going to be our first responder dedicated car. And by that, I mean on the driver's, this will be a wrap, by the way. No one's hand painting this. On the driver's side, it's going to be dark blue. And we're going to have badges and insignias from police departments and sheriff's departments all across the country on the driver's side. And on the passenger side, it's going to be fire engine red. And we're going to have fire and EMS badges and insignias all down that side. And the hood is going to be a 9/11 memorial of some kind. I'm sure the Twin Towers will be there. The Pentagon will be on there. Shanksville. Is that where the aircraft
Pennsylvania
nosedived? Yeah, we'll have that in there in some manner. That'll be kind of our 9/11 memorial to the first responders who died. So it's important to us because across the board, in some digging, and so for those out there who don't, let me back up for a second. For those out there watching who don't understand, myself, G-Baby, Crayons, they are on the board of directors with myself for USMC Racing. So we run this nonprofit organization, and we talk daily, some more than others, to probably the bitterment of some other people because we blow up their phones, which I don't know what to tell you. But it's great. And so we talked about, how do we equate 412? Like why do we want to have a first responder car? Well, doing some light digging, if you look across the board, across the U.S., from Seattle to Miami, from Bangor, Maine to LAX, Los Angeles, about 40% of first responders, so that's EMS, firefighters, police department, sheriffs, about 40% are either prior military, current military, meaning they're reservists, or there's some kind of National Guard aspect. So that's a lot of freaking people. And it came down to, how do we show our respect to first responders who also have done a lot? And so this car is a perfect way of doing that. And then, as a matter of fact, after this particular race that we're doing in September, the car is going to Tucker, Georgia for hand controls. And it's fantastic. Don't worry, Crayons, you're not having to do the install. You're okay. You're off the hook on that one. So it's exciting, So, matter of fact, Crayons, where is Chesty right now?
Not far from me. Just a couple bays down. I'm actually at my shop right now. Chesty is occupying his own personal lift right now. Getting some much needed upgrades. It was almost scary when I first lifted it and looked at it and see what it needs. But Chesty's going to be popping when I'm done with it.
I tell you, I'm excited. I mean, that car was quick at the 24-hour race we did in April. And when we got, so folks, let me tell you, we did the 24-hour event in April. The car performed subpar, but we still did really good in our class. Came back, found out that not only was the tune not right, but we had two spark plugs that weren't all the way seated in their holes.
Not installed.
Yeah. Submariner, Alex, if you're watching, you're a douchebag. Kidding. Sorry. I love you military guys. So, luckily, Brian owns an automotive shop who happens to have one of the fastest four-cylinder Mustangs in the country. How much horse does it make per hole?
Oh, per hole, our new target on our new setup is going to be 400 horse per cylinder. So 1,600 horsepower, 4-cylinder.
That's insane. So if those of you who are on the drag racing circuit and who don't follow Texas Grunt Racing, you're already incorrect. Fix yourself. Move on over well, how about you write it down, watch the rest of this show, and then you go over and find it and save it and like them. Don't leave this show yet. So a lot of cool things are coming. So go back to Tom. We only got a couple minutes left. So because of people like Tom and others, we're able, Matt Welsh, 2.3 swap the world. No, because we have a 4.6 and it's more important. So thanks to people like Tom, we're able to get stuff like this, right? This is a head and neck restraining device. We now have two of these. So now we can get two people in the car with their own head and neck restraining device. We also got 4 suits from Impact Racing. We have 4 suits, 4 socks, 4 suits, 4 balaclavas, 4 shoes, 4 gloves. We've got 4 helmets. All these suckers are brand new. Also, one of our awesome donors, Out of Regs. They make men's hair products. If you get stuff from them, we get a kickback, which is fantastic. Also, I use their products on the daily. You can't see because I'm wearing a hat, but it's fantastic. Trust me.
His hair is always nice and pasty, though.
It is. No, it's. Listen, look. You can probably still look at that. Look at that. That sweet comb over.
Yeah.
Straight 1930s.
Well, I'm
Germany.
about to be out of regs permanently, so I'm out of regs right now, but I'm about to be out of regs
Well, we
permanently.
can just put that on your face then. And then all of our helmets. Where am I going? This way, this way. All of our helmets have comms. Beep, beep, beep. So super awesome. So Brian, we're not having that shit show we had in March in NOLA ever again. That was a mess. Never again. Okay, so we're at 20 minutes. We're going to have a longer episode to talk about USMC racing because Tom, super cool. You're damn right, Tom. It's your fault we have all this awesome stuff. And by fault, I mean good fault. Okay, so we're running out of time. We need to get our guest in here. So unmute yourself, but don't say anything yet. If he's watching. I can't tell because he disappeared on my Skype. Anyway, okay. So this is
He's
kind of
giving the chakra.
He's hit
Chakra.
the
Shaka?
The shaka.
No, the shaka, whatever,
Man,
Hawaiian.
I didn't hear
Never
that.
been stationed in Hawaii?
No, man. Stationed in Hawaii. Look, have you seen my tan lately? Anyway, look, you're wasting time. Okay, here's the deal. This guy's fantastic. Prior Marine, Cry Flash Rescue. He was my guide in boot camp in 2004. Which is crazy.
Now the truth comes out.
And he got fired like right around the rifle range time. We're all like, yeah, fuck that guy. Woo! And then he came back. Well, I guess I do that all the time to guide. So without further ado, boop, boop, boop. Hopefully he's there and unmuted. Why didn't it switch over? Come on, screen. Hey, there he is.
Hey.
Look at
What's
you.
up, guys? How are y'all this evening?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me on tonight. Glad to be here.
So, folks, so everybody understands, I have literally not seen his face in person like this since November of 2004 when we graduated. Just so we're clear.
We've missed a couple opportunities, though. There have been a couple.
There has been, but we've missed. I think one of the times I was going to Raleigh for like the circus or some, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Either way, folks, this is kind of neat. We have not talked in a whole lot in a long time. As far in a long conversation, it's been text back and forth. But this is David Boyd, resident Marine, Crash Fire Rescue, and now a police officer. So let's do the 5 W's real quick. You know, where are you at now? You know, family, kids, what are you doing, etc.
All right. So I am just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. I work for a small police department here, full-time community police officer. So I don't do patrol anymore unless they're super busy. So I'd mainly just do all the feel-good stuff. But I'm also on our SWAT team where I serve as a breacher.
Oh, snap.
Yeah. I like to break things. I'm not so good at the shooting, but I know what I'm good at. I'm good at carrying heavy stuff and breaking things. So that's what they give me to do. I got wife and 2 kids. I coach CrossFit on the side. I also am a transformation coach, and I work with first responders and veterans dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder and recovering from divorce and transitioning out of the military or out of public safety. And I'm also a full-time college student as well.
Oh, snap. I'm in college now, too.
So
that shit sucks.
That's the rundown.
Man, dude, you do a lot. I'll tell you what. So, folks, you may recognize his face. If you watched Fox News like 2 years ago about some dude who got like stabbed in the head and then like tried to stab him, that was the guy. That was the guy who was on Fox News. And so one of our board members just texted me and said he said he's home. So let me just tell him to call us here. May jack up the show, but this is seat of our pants.
You're
So
always on the seat of your pants.
seat of your pants.
No, that's right.
Is it the
That's
same?
Flying by the
correct
seat of your
way.
pants.
People say the seam of the pants,
Oh.
but that's not the correct way.
I mean, I don't know how to spell either, so I think I failed that MCI. Okay, so what's neat is
Not the only one.
yeah. What's neat is so like you kind of stated a second ago, you clearly do a whole lot more than meets the eye. I see you routinely on Facebook running in this marathon, carrying the thin blue flag, working with your community. The snowball fight, that's my favorite. I can't believe you didn't send me pictures of the snowball fight. Those are I love that stuff, man. You guys showing up.
If you loved it so much, you know how to find it.
Well, no, that's your job. I'm busy. I don't have the bandwidth to find pictures of you. This is for you, home dog. God. Okay, folks. So you may have seen it. I think this got big. Well, there were talks. There was like small local stories, maybe 2 or 3 winters ago. But this last winter, there were a lot of police departments all across the country responding to kids throwing rocks in the streets. Oh my God! And so the cops show up, wee woo, wee woo, and it's just a bunch of kids.
How's that sound effect go again? How'd that go?
Wee woo,
yeah, that was a
woo.
really
Just throwing snowballs and stuff. All right, let me bring in old Nady Poo here.
Hello.
Let me bring him into the. Oh, hang on, I gotta unlock it.
Oh, look at you! You're in the Monte Carlo.
He is in the Monte Carlo. Okay, so we'll talk we'll talk about the Monte Carlo in a sec. Don't steal the show, Nate. Stop it. Okay, so now I gotta add your name. Okay, I'm not adding your name. Anybody who wants to know who the new guy is, it's Nady Poo. Okay, I'm not adding a new name and icons because it's gonna jack the show up. Okay, moving on. Okay, so I don't even know what I was talking about. Oh yeah, wee woo. Okay, so so you may have seen it, and he was one of the ones that was on Fox News again for them, storm the beaches of the snow-filled streets of kids trying to kill each other with snowballs. It's fantastic. This is a super great story. I love the fact that you give back to your community, and it's a shame when there's officers who tarnish the badge, and in particular, I forget the county. I think it was just last week. The guy was caught planting meth on over 100 different innocent people, ruining lives, and he did it at random. That's the crazy part. There was no rhyme or reason. He was just planting shit on people. What the fuck? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, and and that's kind of the reason that I take my position with community policing so seriously, because people see that stuff and they're like, oh well, all cops are bad, and so I like to take the opportunities that I get to really interact with people and answer people's questions. I worked in the hood for 7 years before I moved out to the suburbs, so I had my fun, but I've interacted with so many people who the only story that they have about the police is negative, and there's so many things we do every single day.
That's awesome.
Go unreported and unnoticed.
Yeah, that's awesome that you say that. So I mentioned this a couple weeks back, but I worked with a guy, David St. Romain, who he's about to release a song that talks about that, about how the name of the police needs to change within the community, because it's just they do more good than they do bad, but we only hear about the bad, which changes our perspective on what they do.
Yeah, and I made a huge change. I worked in the big city, like I said, for about 7 years, and I wasn't working for my own community, and that was a huge problem for me. I was very conflicted inside because I was going out and doing all these things for, putting my life on the line every day for a community that wasn't my own. And I changed my whole career, moved departments, moved jobs, moved to a bunch, a place where I didn't know anybody in the department anyways, because I worked from a 700 person agency to a 60 person agency, where now I know everybody, and I lift weights with the chief every once in a while,
Oh, cool.
Going to that, it was so important to me to have that small town and have those regular interactions with the same people on a regular basis.
Oh, and I think what's important is the community give back. And so I'm gonna go into let me turn that off. So there's a couple pictures I want to show people. So I'm gonna go back to you for a second. So obviously this is a picture of you. It looks like you're a corporal. You got a hella stack, bro. By the way, love it. And it looks like you're snowboarding in this one image here. What are you doing with the snowboard in the snow here? Was this Iraq? Where were you?
That was in Gardez, Afghanistan. I was when I was in Afghanistan, I ran the personal security detail for the political advisor to the commanding general of Combined Forces Command Afghanistan. And when he went home for the Christmas holidays, New Year's, and all that. He said, "Do what you do. Just be back to pick me up from Kabul International." And so I hopped on a Blackhawk and I headed down to Gardez, where I knew a captain who was working at the Police Regional Training Center. And I spent a month or so as his turret gunner down there. But so it's
cool.
Yeah, so we got about 2 feet of snow on Christmas.
Oh, wow.
And there was a dude from DynCorp who was there doing the police training, and he had brought a snowboard because he's a civilian, and he was in country for like 8 years.
I love DynCorp. Matter of fact, let me show you something. This is my favorite patch. Once my favorite backpack. Hashtag Marsock. But this patch right here, this is my absolute favorite patch. One, I'm from Texas. Every other state sucks. But that was given to me by a prior Ranger who did, I think, like 18 or 19 years in the Rangers, and he had a couple of those like on his arm. He was working for Doneco at the time, old guy. We got to know each other through the course of one of my deployments, and he gave me several of those. And that is by far my absolute favorite patch. So it's funny you bring up DynCorp. Man, what a small world.
Yeah,
that's
they're
wild.
Good dudes.
Yeah,
so that dude brought a snowboard, and we hooked it up to a Humvee with a tow rope, and we got drug around, and we threw some Afghan police recruits in the snowboard too. That was quite comical, but.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Okay, so what we got? It looks like you're running a marathon. What's it? Marine Corps marathon, and you're carrying the thin blue line flag. And so you have a picture of somebody on your back. Tell us about who that is.
So that is a officer who was killed in the line of duty last year, just outside of San Francisco. He was also a Marine veteran. His name's Kurt Griss. He's a Marine as well. Was performing a traffic stop on the side of the highway and was hit by a woman who was texting and driving and killed the passenger that was in the stopped vehicle as well. One of the guys that's in my motorcycle club who works for California Highway Patrol was good friends with him and his wife. And as you know, Brian, I've been running thin blue line flags in races for a while for fallen officers. And him being a Marine as well and having recently passed. He was the guy to run for in the Marine Corps Marathon. There was no doubt about that one.
That's awesome. And then, so how many Marine Corps Marathons have you done so far? Was this your first and only one so far?
Yeah, first one. I was going to run again this year, but I'm actually out right now from work recovering from another knee surgery. So I'm just running the 10K this year instead of the marathon. But hopefully back to the marathon next year.
Oh, nice. Now, I followed you stalkingly-ish that morning you were running. I think you were posting every 10 or 20 minutes. And I noticed you posted more when you were at what you called water stations. What were they? Where they had like chow and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You had some good conversations. Stop it, Dad. You had some cool conversations with some people, as a matter of fact, if I remember correctly. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so
so the reason I carry the flags is, one, because I carry the flag in honor of the officer who's died, but also so that flag can eventually go to the widow or family of the officer that was killed in the line of duty.
Right.
But also because I want to be able to share that officer's story. And I get a lot of, when I carry the flag, I get a lot of people who run next to me. And, especially when I wear a picture on my back, which I try to do most of the time, unless I get a memorial shirt from the family beforehand. So I got a lot of people running with me and asking me about, how they died, who they were. Ran with a guy who he's prior service Marine. Now he runs a police training company. I ran with him for about a mile and a half and shared Kirk's story. Cool. He told me all about his experience too. I mean, it's nice to be able to share the sacrifices that, the men and women that I run for have made with complete strangers. So their legacy lives on.
So Blue Falcon Apparel just commented on the show. They said, that's an awesome story. Send us a message. you can pick up whatever shirt you want. So, David, that's directed at you. So, do me a favor. When you're done, when you have a minute after the show or when you have a moment, reach out to Blue Falcon Apparel. Those guys are great. As a matter of fact, I'm not even wearing one of theirs. The one day you don't wear it, and I'm not wearing Blue Falcon Apparel either, which is really shitty on me. But I'm waiting. There's some slight changes we're making to the overall logo in regards to some number changes. So I haven't purchased anything yet myself. Was he going to go change? Where did he go?
Mm-hmm.
What the heck? Man, this show is a mess. Holy moly.
The show just got
there
extra
nudity
going on.
No, I didn't even get to see nudity because you left. No, take it off and put it back on. This is not fair.
There, I got my USMC Racing shirt. And
that's fantastic. So, anyways, for those who are there watching, Blue Falcon Apparel is our official apparel organization. They have great stuff. We get 50% of the proceeds. But David, it sounds like they're going to give you a free shirt. So head on over there, pick up a USMC Racing shirt, and wear that sucker whenever you want.
Heck yeah.
So we got a couple more photos to go through. Let's see, what do we got? Okay, so you're standing in front of you're standing in front of a police car, and then it looks like you're speaking to a bunch of students. Tell us about that.
So the one in my full dress uniform, I actually lucked out with the new uniform. My new department for the full dress uniform is just like wearing dress blues. So
it looks hot.
Yeah,
like temperature hot. I mean, you're good looking, but it looks hot.
But that was actually the North Carolina Fallen Officers Memorial Ceremony was that morning, and we traveled out to Wilson, and attended that, representing the department. And then the picture on the right where I'm talking to students, I also work, I forgot this earlier, but I work with a veteran service organization called Travis Manning Foundation.
Yep.
They're a nonprofit, if you haven't heard of them, that works with veterans, Gold Star families, developing character with youth, amongst youth. And so I do presentations for students from time to time, sometimes on duty, sometimes off, about how character does matter and how military sacrifice can relate to character and developing character. So the kids sometimes do service projects, they do memorial workouts, those kinds of things. So
now, how old are these people look kind of young. Are these high schoolers in this photo?
Yeah. So the classes can really be ranged from, fifth grade up, really. But I'm actually talking to my old JROTC unit. I got invited out there to talk to those classes all day.
Oh, cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that you give back, and it's important for people to understand, that you guys are humans too. It was very hard for me to watch the video that was put out yesterday of the people in New York throwing water on those New York police officers. And again, I am not wanting to be. I don't want to talk political. This is not what this organization is about. However, that sincerely pissed me off, and it amazes me that people do that because they're the first people they're going to call when something goes wrong. And here they are.
Well, you got nobody else to call.
Yeah. And I'm not trying to talk, and I'm not trying to debate with you, David. I don't want to start a philosophical discussion by any means. My point is I truly pain for what you guys have had to go through. It is amazing to me that in my lifetime I have seen the fall of respect for the people that defend the communities that we live in. It effing amazes me, and it just irritates me beyond belief.
Because the thing is like those are small isolated incidents. I mean, if you look at the broad majority are people like you who, the silent majority, unfortunately. But
we're not silent around here.
But those are the things that generate or news headlines, and those are the things that get clickbait crap.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah. Well, clickbait's money.
Yeah. And I've had plenty of negative experiences. I've ended up on YouTube and ended up on Facebook Live where people are, trying to degrade me and those kinds of things. But at the end of the day, like, the people that know me in my communities, when they see it, they're like, we know that's not who you are. And we know that whoever that was is just trying to draw you into something so that they can get their 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with who I am, and it doesn't have anything to do with who those cops were in New York either. They would have done it to whoever was there, and they got arrested.
Lou, one of our most loyal viewers, and my father-in-law said that they arrested 3 of them.
Oh, did they really?
Yeah,
yeah.
They arrested 3 of them.
Scumbags. Oh. So I got some other good news. I'm gonna post the little comment up in here. Kyle Fisher, our my number 1 fan. He says, heck, I'll throw in a Hot Shot Secret t-shirt as well. Message me and thanks for your service. So when we're done here, Brian, you need to reach out to Kyle Fisher or the Hot Shots Secret Facebook page and Blue Falcon Apparel, and they're both going to get you shirts.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate
it. Make sure you post on Facebook, tag them and us for proof that you did it. Because we want to see that after the fact.
Of course.
I think the main reason I wanted to bring you on, other than the personal connection that you and I have 15 years in the making, is, it's not just the military that suffers. You look at the British, right? The police officers in Great Britain, those sons of guns can't even carry weapons. They carry nightsticks. And they're not allowed to induct any kind of physical force unless, like, somebody high-ranking has authorized it. That is insane to me. And I watched a show recently. I don't think it was on TV. I think it was on YouTube, and it had something to do with mental health. And I don't know how I pigeonholed into this particular episode, but it had grown women of the police force within Britain, specifically London. And their hands are literally bound and tied. They cannot do anything. And their number of the percentage of mental health issues are 10 times that of police officers and sheriff's department individuals we have in the United States. They have zero backing. They're not allowed to do anything. It's unbelievable. So the important part for what I'm trying to make is, folks, it's not just the veteran community that has this problem.
Yeah,
it's police officers as well. It's fire department. If you don't think a 25-year-old working for the fire department going up on an auto wreck scene and seeing a severed head in the dashboard is not traumatic, sign off the show and go watch something else. That causes problems.
I've seen far more PTSD inducing events and been a part of more of them in my 9 years as a cop now than I ever did in the military.
That's crazy.
The guys that go overseas, and that's not to take away from anybody in the service by any means, but the guys that go overseas, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times with SF and MARSOC and all those dudes see it on a regular too. But a lot of times, the guys come back and they come back and they decompress and they go back and they decompress. Like, I don't have that opportunity. Like, Christmas Day 2015, it was my first day as a field training officer. First call out of the gate on Christmas Day at 7:05 in the morning was a deceased 3-month-old.
Oh,
that was that kid's first 911 call of all time.
Let me ask you a question, if I can. So, we in the military, they talk about the services that they provide for those veterans who go off and do God's work in this in foreign lands. What are the services like for our police officers? Are they receiving any type of mental health while they're there dealing with the issues, because just like you said, you got to go from seeing that 3-month-old kid to going right back out on the street.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, for the vast majority of the nation, there isn't anything. Like, you'll finish your shift out. We probably took another 8 or 10 calls that day. You'll finish your shift out, and maybe if you're lucky, there will be a critical incident stress debriefing. Maybe your next shift or 3 or 4 shifts down the road.
But that's just a briefing. That's nobody talking to you, giving you counseling, right?
That's a group discussion about what everybody's role was. And those really help. I mean, they're super helpful. I would never take away from the CISD. I've gotten more out of doing those than individual counseling sessions. But the vast majority of police departments do not have a full-time police psychologist. And they, every police department has, employee assistance programs, or every town or sheriffs or whatever has employee assistance programs. But just like in the military, there's stigma that is involved.
That's the shame of it all, is that stigma, man. Because the reality is that it doesn't matter how strong you are. You see some stuff, you're going to see some stuff. And as good as we are with the military guys, we need to be equally as good with the police departments. But unfortunately, the difference is that with the military, we're federal. So, we get the resources, but, our police officers, they're not federal, they're local, and,
it all comes down to tax dollars at the end of the day. And unfortunately, nationwide, more cops and firefighters and EMTs kill themselves every year than are killed in the line of duty. I think last year
only imagine
upwards of 200 were committed suicide, and only I think in the 140s, 150s were died in the line of duty.
We have one of our viewers, Autumn. She says, remember, be kind to yourself. Pain and trauma is not a competition, so never feel bad for not handling any experience as well as another person. Great advice.
Great advice.
We got 2 from our page. So Ryan Mathis here in Slidell, I actually just met him the other day. It's a small world, too. We actually know people, which is wild. He says, David, I love you for being a cop. I did it, too, and was rescued from it with my wife getting orders to Japan, and then Tom, one of our big benefactors. Doctors and nurses see the same thing in Dave's work. Child abuse is the biggest issue, and they can't do anything about it because of the protocol they had to follow. And my wife
Brian,
says that.
Yeah, I was about to say, Brian, that touches close to home for you.
My wife, and here's the thing: she was telling me about on your driver's license when it says you're a donor. If your family is in the hospital while you're basically going to die, they will fight that every time. She's seen that for over a year now. And it doesn't matter what your wishes are because the family is there. And that, unfortunately, trumps everything unless you sign a DNR. But we're not going to talk about that. Okay, so moving on. We're going to talk about something more uplifting. So we're gonna end this here for a little bit. So we got 2 really cool photos of you. One, it looks like you're 30 feet in the air on a mountain bike. And the other one looks like you just kicked somebody's ass. So let's hear about that.
All right. So the mountain bike photo, I'm big into bikes. I ride motorcycles. I grew up riding BMX. I'll give Brian a second here. You all right, buddy?
Yeah. Just too much vodka. Woo! I'm good.
So the one on the left, I've been riding bikes pretty much since I was like 6. Used to race BMX. I'm big into mountain bikes, big into road bikes, ride motorcycles. I've known to dabble in a unicycle here and there.
Oh, jeez. We got Barnum and Bailey over here.
I can't juggle in unicycle, just regular unicycle though.
Boo.
That picture was actually last fall. I went on a trip with the Sawfleet crew, if you're familiar with Sawfleet. Up to the mountains and did some mountain biking for the weekend. And the picture there on the right, I used to fight MMA as well. That was my first and only fight. Unfortunately, I destroyed my shoulder as I was preparing for my
photographed
second
MMA.
I mean, you look super
Basically the same
fit.
thing.
Like, I mean, I'm turned on. You look hot. I'm just saying. You look
Hey,
good.
Brian.
I felt really bad because I ended up the guy that I was supposed to fight broke his arm like 2 weeks before. I didn't tell anybody until 2 days before the fight, and so they ended up finding this other cop from Greenville, North Carolina. And he told me he told me afterwards that I'd broken his ribs.
No!
I put this other cop on light duty, and I'm like, man, I've been on light duty as a cop. It's terrible. I still kind of feel bad about that. And that was 4 years ago now.
Oh my gosh, that's bananas.
Yeah, so,
what a jerk!
Did a little bit of fighting.
What a jerk!
You're a jerk.
That's like the third word Daddy Pooh has said. Oh man!
I'm just taking it in, man. I'm drinking my whiskey.
Oh, good. Cheers! I'm having vodka and tea.
Yeah. Cheers.
Hey, he doesn't speak much, but when he speaks, it's meaningful.
It was, man. It definitely that cut deep.
My bad.
Well, hey, man, I really appreciate you being on the show. I know it was probably kind of weird when I messaged you out of the blue. Hey, man, want to be on our Facebook Live show that has like 6 people that watch? But it means a lot to us. We absolutely appreciate everything you have done for your community, for this nation, for you being a U.S. Marine and a crash fire rescue and things you've done in Afghanistan. And the community work to me is huge. Like, it's great if you're a police officer, but I think it's meaningful. It's more meaningful if you give back. And what you have done, not just the national level attention, but just the fact that you continue to do so, the fact that you continue to give a shit, and you still do what you're doing, give a darn, dang. Sorry. I keep forgetting.
Thank you.
Keep forgetting we're PG around here. It means a lot.
We have children's parents watching.
Mine just came in. I don't know where they went. So it means a lot.
I love it how
truly.
This is the second show where somebody has walked behind you.
I know. Well, the dogs are parched, so my smoking hot wife was giving them water.
I think it's hilarious.
Well, last
hey,
week,
way to go, Wayne. Way to go. Let's give her a round of applause.
Good job. We're rounding of applause to you. Yay! Because you interrupted the show and gave him water.
Thank you for saving the dogs.
Losers! That's basically how that just went down. There she is again. Well, it's better than last week. My half-naked father-in-law walked behind me last week. So
oh my God!
This
you didn't even know. I'm like, hey.
No, I didn't even know he was back there. Oh my God.
You need to go in the race car like me. There's no one here.
No, I don't have a race car.
He doesn't have a race car.
Brian has a damn car.
Brian.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyways, David, super appreciate it. If you could hang on when we close the show, we'll come back and we'll talk to you a little bit more. But super appreciate what you're doing. Love you, man. It's good to actually see your face after 15 years. Thank you again.
Looking forward to getting in that car eventually.
Yeah, well.
Yes.
We have open seats. We got open seats, and we'll talk about it, man. Hey, again, thank you so much. I super appreciate it. Mute yourself, and we'll talk to you in a little bit. Landon, you're in the show, bro. Back up. Okay, moving on. Okay, hang on. Oh, jeez, Nate's gone. I gotta bring Nate in here. Yeah,
no, Nate's here.
No,
I see him.
I can't because he's on the show.
I'm here. I'm here. Can you see me?
Stop it, Dad. Wait. Oh,
I'm
Lord.
up. You see me? I'm down.
Oh no, everyone disappeared. Oh.
Are you guys watching this on Skype or is it on Facebook?
No. It's on. Oh
it's
God, I don't know what just happened, but everyone just disappeared. Ah! Wait. Okay. Well, I think I fixed it. Wait, no. Oh, where's G Baby? Oh, Gigi disappeared too.
Nope.
Okay.
I
I'm
am
not
here.
changing the
I'm
names because
always
this is
here.
impossible. Okay. So this is kind of neat. So for those of you who are just tuning in and haven't been watching since the beginning, someone says, "What's Facebook?" Yeah, exactly. Natty Poo is also one of our fantastic board members. Also flies the Osprey because he's super cool and uses his thumb to move the nacelles up and down and things like that. He makes his nacelles move up and down. Great.
Magically.
With his thumb. Okay, so why don't you show us what you're sitting in, man?
Oh, man, I got to get out of this thing now. Give me a second here. I'm going to hop out.
Come on, Dukes and Hazard it, baby. Dukes and Hazard.
Oh, my gosh.
You got butt out for... Oh, Lord. Where'd he go? He disappeared. Why'd you disappear?
Oh, man.
Oh, wait, why is G-Baby in here twice?
I'm here.
Oh my goodness, this is a mess.
'Cause I'm twice as nice,
No,
baby.
this show is such a disaster. Oh
All right, I'm
my
gonna turn this thing around here. How do I turn this around?
You
on here.
press the button. It says turn
There we go.
around. Oh my Lanta. Wait, G baby, where'd you go? Wait,
Can you see it? Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah,
hold
but
on.
it's going up to the sky.
There.
Well,
There you go.
Hey,
hold
there
on
it
here.
is.
Hold on here. How about that?
There you go. That's it.
Yeah. All right. So there she is, folks.
I don't know why George keeps disappearing and dropping out. He's showing in here twice.
Hey,
Hold on.
is Nate baby's Natey Pooh's camera up? That's all that matters right now.
No, I have
Yes.
to keep changing your name
No.
around because it's getting all jacked up. Now I'm in the top left. Oh, beep. Okay, people, if you're watching, just focus on the car. Don't focus on
Can
what I'm
anyone
doing.
see it? Anyone see it?
Oh, I can see
Yeah,
it.
there you go. It's So tell us
Hold on.
about this little sucker.
Oh my
So,
God.
so MI Squadron, we've got some.
Ah!
Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Am
we're
I
good.
talking?
Go. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, hold on.
Continue. Come on.
All right, swapping around. All right, so
Oh,
we've got
man.
some
Who eats the
prior
crayons in our
service
show?
members. Can you
I
guys
do.
hear me? Am I
Yeah,
talking?
I can. Oh, I
Yeah,
can
man,
hear
you're
it.
good.
You're
brother,
talking
you're
over
good.
me and it's throwing me out.
I'm sorry. I'll be quiet.
All
Go.
right. All right, shut up. All right, cool. So we've got these instructors at our squadron that they're not part of our squadron, but they teach simulators for future V-22 guys, and one of them was a prior lieutenant colonel, and he had a race car that he used to take out with his buddy, who was also a lieutenant colonel, I believe. But anyways, they went out and rode or drove oval track racing in this car. It's been sitting in the garage for 4 years or so. And during a meeting, he reached out to me and asked me if we wanted another car. He heard about the team. He heard about what we're doing with veterans and first responders. And he thought, you know, even though this car isn't exactly what we're doing with like the road tracks and stuff like that, it would be a good piece of gear to give to the team and it fix up and hopefully put the right people in the seat. So
Yeah, and that's
he's
great.
interested. He's interested in racing again at some point. But you know, it's a work in progress, and you know, it runs, and it's a cool little car. So
I think it's great.
yeah, so super pumped to get this thing. I'll work on it a little bit, probably here in the next few months, and hopefully it'll be ready
And
by
so-
September.
And we were
So,
talking about what it needs an alternator, right? And what else did we talk about that it needed? I forget.
just we'll put a paint job on it. You know.
Oh yeah,
take-
paint
To
job.
do some body work. Hopefully, I can find someone out here that can take care of some body work for us.
Yeah.
You know, tinker on the engine a little bit. You know, we're not trying to get it ready for the race, I don't think. So, but basically just kind of get it ready to
I
show.
think it'd be
and-
cool. So, and
Right,
race
so-
fans, you'll see this sucker in September. So the plan is we hope to have a super awesome like group photo of USMC Racing with Lemons people, USMC Racing with Richlands County. Oh
Yeah.
man, I just gave it away. With dang,
Whoa!
I know, sorry, Hidden Wounds. So this is going to be super. Let's just gloss over the fact that I just said that. Moving on. So
Nobody
it-
pays attention to you anyway.
I know, basically. So hopefully no one comments. So this is going to be super huge, and this car is going to be fantastic. While it's not going to be an endurance car, you know, like old Natty Pooh said, the point is we have another avenue to put people behind the wheel. That's what's important. Maybe people don't want to drive for 2.5 hours. They just want to do several laps. Well, now you got the chance. You drive yourself out. Drive yourself out to Kinston. Once we get the car ready to go, and that'll be great. That's the purpose. We're trying to open ourselves up to allow everybody the chance. You just want to go left? There you go. Now you got the
Don't
option
go
to
right.
do so. Yeah. No, left. No one's going. Oh yeah, don't go right. Yeah. Don't go right. Like what? They don't go right. Oh, it's been a long day, man. I should just wear this helmet right next to me instead. The next show. Oh man.
Speaking of, I haven't seen Frank in a while.
Okay. He's in the. Should I go get him? He's in the clock. He's over there in the
Oh
office.
no, leave him be right
We
now.
only
He's
have
probably
like
sleeping.
a minute and 12 seconds left until we're over our 1 hour.
Yeah.
So
Is it limited to an hour? This is my first one. I'm
no,
sorry.
it's not limited to an hour. We just try to keep it to an hour. But the point is, you know, we are not just a one pony show. That's what we're trying to do. opening up a second car in road racing, opening up this car that that Nate has in his garage for us for road racing. Like it's huge, and it means a lot. Ooh, engine bay.
Can't see it. It's really dark.
If you had lights, you could see it.
Well,
Ooh.
the hood's covering the lights.
If he had
All
lights
right?
like this, haboop, haboop,
Well, I could probably
haboop.
find a flashlight somewhere.
You could. Ooh, sweet toolbox.
Thanks, bro.
Oh man.
Well, hopefully this car can be taken down to the car meet too down at CMP. So if we have enough trailers, we can take it down there for the car meet and then get all the cars.
Well, so you'll need to reach out to 911 Signing Company. Maybe they'll let you borrow a trailer to bring it down.
I'll get a trailer. I'm not worried about that. It'll be brought down. But
I'm excited. That event
man.
for us, folks, is going to be huge. I'm super stoked.
Huge.
So, it's
Huge, I say.
huge. Okay, so before we sign off, folks, if you don't know who GBAB is, he runs Trident Productions, which is our communications arm of USMC Racing. They create our pamphlets, our products. They help telling me to stop cursing during our Facebook Live shows because I can't control myself because I get irritated when people splash water on their police because F those guys, scumbags. Anyways, so if you aren't familiar with what Trident Productions is or does, you're already wrong. Head on over to Trident Productions on Facebook. Check out what they're doing. They got a sweet demo reel, which is their cover photo video act. As a matter of fact, it's super sweet. USMC Racing and Trident Productions is actually joining forces this weekend for the 48-hour film festival in New Orleans. Super stoked about that. Show off my awesome, sick, terrible welding skills. Brian, don't judge. Super excited about that. It's really my wife and kids are going to be there. His wife and kids are going to be there. We're going to have all. You're not going to be there. Stop it. Stupid. So it's going to be. You're not coming.
He says otherwise.
Yeah.
I don't know why they're talking back right now.
Shows you who's the head of that household.
Scum. Not this guy. I'm not even wearing pants.
No
Anyway,
pants.
so-
No pants.
no pants. Oh man. Okay, so the point is, if you follow USMC Racing, you should be following Trident Productions. They ensure that when we do official posts as regards to what the team is doing, photos and videos, they're going to be there. They're going to be there in force in September. Head on over to their page. If you have a couple of dollars to donate for us for this weekend for them, head on over there and do that for them. That would be fantastic. But, you know, they're great, and they've done a lot for us. So do us a favor. Head on over there and give them a shout. We've taken up an hour and 2 minutes of your time. We super appreciate it. Next week, I have no idea what the guest is because I don't remember. You'll find out
It's a good one.
next week. It is? Yeah, it's a good one. I don't remember.
It's a good one.
It's a good, yeah, that guy.
I'm so
It's super
excited.
great. It's going to be great. Awesome, yeah. So anyways, thank you everybody for watching. We super appreciate you. The 10 people watching right now, it's fantastic. We're glad you stuck around. And, you know, it's people like you who have allowed us to get stuff like this. It's
Yes.
awesome to
Yeah.
get helmets
Yes.
and gloves and shoes and socks and balaclavas and comm equipment for both of our vehicles, amplifiers and antennas. It's fantastic. You guys are great. So thank you so much for what you guys have done for us. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you guys next week. Thank you.
Awesome.